What's up, guys? Jesse Soto, BRPS title. I have a very special guest with me today, Miss Gabriella Cockburn, but it's not Cockburn.
It's technically Cockburn.
Cockburn.
Scottish, so.
Scottish. And she is with Goosehead Insurance. She definitely knows her cocktails and she knows how to make them. So we're bringing back closing cocktails and she is my first guest. Gabriella, what are you making today?
Okay, so we're gonna do a New York sour. So definitely a riff off of a whiskey sour, basically with port on top. And this basically was a transition from the original didn't even have egg whites, and then they added egg whites to the New York sour, to the whiskey sour, and then all of a sudden someone decided to throw some port on top. Supposedly in Chicago, but the bartenders in New York made it very popular, so they kind of changed that name up and decided to call it New York Sour. So it's fun, it's frothy, it's a little fruity, you get some rye in there, it's all the good things mixed together. It would be a really fun Valentine's cocktail as well. So
Valentine's cocktail, I like it. And of course,
Good
New York's
mouth
stealing
texture.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have rye whiskey. We're using Whistle Pig.
It's delicious, yes.
It is delicious. And then we have port
Yes.
and your namesake as well.
From my, own reserve. There we go. What is this?
And then egg whites,
Yep.
lemon, and then we're garnishing with a cherry.
Yes, and then we're obviously going to express some lemon peel as well. Obviously, with any type of citrus, it's very important to use the fresh as well. So obviously, that's what we're doing. So we're just going to get into it.
Yes.
Okay, so
Go.
we're going to make 2 at a time. So a regular recipe would only have 2 ounces, but obviously we're going to do 4. We don't have a jigger day, so we're just counting. If y'all need to count at home, it's every count should be a ½ ounce. So if you're saying 1 and 2 in your head, that should be a ½ ounce each, right? Let's do- Perfect, okay.
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay, and now we are gonna do our egg whites.
Whew.
Yeah.
See how you are with this.
Yeah, come here, little guys. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay.
Impressive, impressive. So this isn't your first time to do egg whites?
No. Oh God, look at that little bad boy. Get there. No. First time on camera to do egg whites though. Get out
I
of
like
there.
it.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Really didn't like that sound, but there we go. Okay. Okay, so I didn't end up juicing these beforehand, but if you need to know for a lemon, the average half of a lemon is going to be ½ ounce. So for just if you're making one cocktail, you would do 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. So since we're going to make 2 at a time, I'm going to do 1.5 ounces. So I'm going to do basically 1.5 lemons in this guy.
Fair.
Yeah. Try not to squirt anybody with it.
Oh, fine. So you worked in the restaurant industry before insurance?
Yes.
Nice.
For way too long.
Way too long.
Everybody should try it, but then make a plan to get out.
Agreed. I remember my fun restaurant experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you work?
I worked at so I worked at Olive Garden, but
Okay,
I
you were telling me about this,
started off at the Black Eyed Pea in Humble.
Yeah.
I try and forget that
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Started from the bottom.
Yeah, now
Look
I'm
at
here.
us now.
Yeah, and but I did do Cheesecake Factory
Okay,
as
yeah.
well. That's where my
Yeah.
last wait
Yeah.
job was. But so where did your last one was Whiskey Cake, right?
Whiskey cake, yes, and
Cool.
that just like developed my love even more for whiskey. Obviously, being the bev manager, getting to try over 100 spirits on my wall whenever I wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's the only thing I miss about it. And some of the wonderful people. I mean,
Good over there.
yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and match the same amount of lemon juice. So for one cocktail, we would do 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. If you need to make the simple syrup at home, it's very easy 1-to-1 ratio. So if you're doing a cup of sugar, a cup of water, and then literally just basically heat it until it's completely dissolved. You can obviously make so many variations of this. You can use sugar in the raw. You can obviously, throw some flavors in there. Really, whatever you want to do with it.
Awesome.
Really not going to mess it up, quite honestly.
I'm very excited to try this.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Okay, so now we're gonna dry shake. So with the egg whites, If you add ice immediately, they'll actually basically coagulate. So you have to dry shake, and then we're gonna wet shake, which basically means throwing the ice in, right?
Huh. I'm learning new things today.
So I always wonder, the first person who threw an egg white in a cocktail, how they thought of that.
Yeah,
Like, I think about that often.
way too often.
I do, because I wonder, like, so an egg, like if you're looking at an egg, right? You would never just look at that and be like, oh, the white part's gonna get frothy.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Mm-hmm. But somebody, and same thing with meringue. Like, what pastry chef was like, you know what? If I take these egg whites and I need something to scoop this. If I take these egg whites and I throw them in a mixer, they're gonna get stiff. Like, who decided that?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Huh.
That Google won't answer for you, and that's frustrating. But you know.
Keeps you up at night.
It does. It does. I want to know like the train of thought that people went through. You know, to think outside the box like that.
That's fair.
Nice and cold.
And it's a new shaker too, so you're getting to bust it in.
Good. Pop that little bad boy open. I'm gonna really try not to make a mess.
Ah.
Excellent. Okay. Probably want to put a little bit of ice in here.
Okay. You're fine.
Okay. We didn't plan ahead with tongs. That's okay.
No.
And I love these beautiful glasses. Y'all can't
Like
see
them
them.
BRPS
Yeah.
title glasses.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now you're just gonna strain this bad boy.
Okay.
See that beautiful texture you're getting?
Oh geez, yeah.
It's like a whole mouthfeel, whole experience. Like certain scotches, like peated, you know, you're never really going, well, that is some people's cup of tea. I don't drink that on the regular, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to have that mouth like experience, to have that like, you know, try it every once in a while, enjoy it. Beautiful.
I like that.
Okay, so you have this beautiful froth.
See the froth?
Now-
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Gorgeous. Once again, who decided that was a thing that could happen?
Yeah.
So now we're just gonna put a little bit of port on top. Now you can actually use any red wine. If you're more of a fruity person, you could do a fruity sweet. You could really mix it up, whatever. Once again, this is just for enjoyment. Now, I wish I had a bar spoon because then I would just lay it over the top, but it will be fine. So we're gonna do about a half an ounce. And now if you weren't doing a New York sour, if you were just doing a regular whiskey sour, it would be really lovely to take some bitters and put them on top and make a really nice little design with that. Okay, so
like that.
we're going to take our little lemon peels, right? And you just need to like squeeze it and express it around the edge, get all that delicious flavor, right? Drop that bad boy in there. Okay. Get on here. There we go.
Nice.
And we're going to put some of these delicious cherries on there as well.
I love that.
We're good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh. Yeah. That's amazing.
It's easy, right?
That's really good.
And that, yeah, I like the texture. I think it's really lovely.
See, the thing I think that I've never tried to make this is because the damn egg whites.
Yeah.
I'm always like just petrified that I'm gonna screw it up or anything like that. But you know, this is fantastic. I would definitely make this at home.
Yeah,
This is
without a
outstanding.
doubt, without a doubt. And I know some people are weird about the pasteurization. I worked with this
Not until you
person.
just told me.
Yes, exactly. Well, okay, but it's so rare to get salmonella. My bar mentor literally would always tell me, would say, it's more likely for a guest to choke and die on a peanut than to get salmonella from
There.
your egg white. So you're fine, unless
Yeah.
you're a child, like under 5 years old, which should not be drinking this anyway. So
I'd agree.
they're at risk, and then like very, very elderly. So
I'd agree.
be careful.
That's fair. So you've been in insurance for a little bit. How are you seeing the market right now?
It's a very hard market.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly hard market. Kind of what I mean by that is you see a hard market when there's obviously high demand, low supply.
Yeah.
Low supply is not talking about the carriers. As we know, I mean, like I personally write with over 50 carriers. There's plenty of carriers out there. By low supply, I mean that basically with inflation, right? A lot of carriers are not wanting to be as competitive. They legitimately are declining risks that normally they would want because they just, want more clients. At
That's
this
fair,
point,
yeah.
there's really less competition because so many carriers are just, no, I'm okay, actually. And
Yeah.
they're making zip codes, counties ineligible. So right now, that's basically what we're seeing in that hard market. What that means also is the rates are going to go up. So we're seeing huge increases, and there's so many behind the scenes components of that as well. Part of it is the reinsurance. So obviously every single insurance company has their reinsurance, which is insurance for them. And they actually have an agreement on how much risk they'll receive. And that also comes in a premium amount as well. So essentially, if they see that they're paying out a lot of claims, they need to stay financially backed. And so they will say, okay, you need to raise the rates in this area because we're paying out so many claims. So that has a component to it as well. Obviously, all the weather claims.
Which I'm sure there have been quite a few lately.
So many, yes. Harris County is, we're struggling right now. But besides that, I mean, you have to deal with so many other components like inflation. And I know everyone keeps saying that, but what that really means is that your dollar just doesn't have the same buying power. So what, $4 would buy milk, it doesn't now. So it's just, it doesn't buy the same thing. So right now, when you're looking at truly like replacement costs for a home, the labor is going to be more expensive, the materials are going to be more expensive. So all of those things make that replacement cost or the dwelling coverage just skyrocket.
That's crazy.
Which essentially means they have to charge more, right?
Yeah.
That's going to make the premium so much higher because you're getting so much more coverage. Same thing with vehicles. Apparently, like the price of steel has like skyrocketed as well. So we're in a very sticky position right now.
You're talking inflation, and I know eggs went up. So this is like a $40 cocktail right here.
I actually brought 2 extra too. So
dang, that's
really
a very expensive
today.
cocktail. Insurance market, it's so you're able to shop different carriers just to try and find the best rate for your clients. Do you? I mean, is it smart to shop around just
without
yearly, or because I know quite a few. Before I was in the industry, I just was like, there's one insurance, and I just stick with it.
I think that's what everyone thinks before.
And
because it's easy.
Yeah.
You know the very well-known names, and you think that that's just a given that a loyal client is going to get good rates. That's just not accurate. The truth is that the majority of insurance carriers are going to give better rates to new business than to reoccurring clients. So at renewals, they pretty much at every single renewal, you're going to expect to see an increase. You need to shop the rates without a doubt. That's essentially what we do. And it really gives us the advantage of looking at the market and learning each carrier and what they have appetites for. Like even in auto, some carriers are going to give better rates to younger drivers, something like that. There's some carriers that will come in and give incredibly competitive rates to certain areas. Now, some of those obviously don't last very long, like UPC over in like coastal, they completely pulled out because they were giving incredible rates, like deductibles that are 1% in coastal.
Jeez,
unheard of.
That's crazy.
But of course that completely backfired on them because they didn't, that you're paying out so many claims, and in the long run you're going to have to actually pull out of that area because you won't actually be able to pay out these claims at some point.
That's fair enough. Yeah. That's crazy.
But that's okay if you're with us because essentially as soon as that carrier is not competitive, we'll just put you with another one. Basically try to cheat the system, essentially.
We're just trying to get the best rate for your customer, which is awesome.
With the coverage too. And that's one of the things. We only write with A-rated carriers, which I really appreciate.
I like that. Okay.
So they're all financially backed. So you're not going to have to worry about, okay, I gave my client a very competitive rate, but they're not getting dependable coverage. That's the crappiest thing to ever deal with. So, I mean, I like that we have that integrity. Because if we didn't, it would just be like slinging insurance, slinging any product, and just giving horrible coverage, insanely high deductibles, not informing our clients, not educating them on what they're actually purchasing. And that's obviously a really big part of what we're seeing in the rate increases is that clients really need to know what's going on. They really need those coverages actually explained to them and really understand, okay, well, if you bring that deductible up, your premium is going down. Do you really want to pay $10K out if you have a claim? It's one of those things that it's very important to inform, obviously provide a professional recommendation, but at the end of the day, it's completely the client's choice.
100%.
I think that more and more people will be deciding to kind of self-insure, to pick a lower premium, but essentially decide that they will put away the amount that they feel like they need in a situation that they do have to file a claim.
That's right, yeah.
And use their insurance more of a safety net for a total loss type situation, because
Yeah.
that's always going to be what you need it for in like a total fire, flood, something like that.
Yeah, that's, and you never think about insurance until you need it, which is always
Like Pasadena.
Yeah,
Yes,
which is always just insane. And I never really thought about insurance until like I got in a wreck like a few years ago, and then I'm like, shit, like what do I have? What's my coverage? I had no idea
at all.
And
people say full coverage.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. Like that's there's just so many definitions to what that means.
Yeah.
And there's so many small underlying coverages. I mean, full coverage means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, people say full coverage and they have state minimums, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We've all been in places in life that we decide to choose a better rate for whatever reasons, right? At the end of the day, that obviously when you actually look at the numbers, like state minimums, 30, 60, 25. So 30,000 bodily injury per person.
Okay.
60,000 bodily injury total accident. And then 25,000 for property damage, which is to replace a vehicle.
Okay.
There's not a lot of $25,000 vehicles driving around.
Nope.
Yeah. And you're
Not at all.
so screwed. After your insurance is paid out, you're actually liable for the rest of that.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the only reason why it's not a judgment, but it's like a professional recommendation to maybe bump it up one bracket. So
Yeah.
50,000 bodily injury, 100,000, and then 50,000 for your property damage.
Yeah.
Just go up one level.
Yeah.
It actually really saves you in the long run if
No,
you
for sure.
look at the what you're paying as opposed to what you could pay in a very large accident, in a situation that you have more than one person involved. I mean, medical expenses. Think about it, an ambulance. Even
Yeah.
if you have to get life flighted, they get so high so quickly, and there's no way to predict when this is going to happen to you. And of course, no one thinks it's going to happen to them.
Especially
Well, we all
Houston.
hope that we all hope it doesn't happen to us as well.
Yeah. So do you do, because I've heard a little bit about private flood. Can you kind of talk about that? Because I know it was FEMA, and then FEMA realized we're losing our ass on all this stuff. And now there's private flood. Do you do that by chance?
Yes, we definitely do. We have a lot of good private flood carriers. The problem is you're just going to pay a lot for flood insurance right now, honestly. I mean, you're just going to have to make that decision. The thing is, if you don't have flood insurance, you're just screwed. And people will always say things like, well, my neighbor said that they didn't flood. Is your neighbor going to pay for your house? Are they going to come over and help you rebuild your home? So for private flood carriers, we have quite a large amount, and some people are a little bit hesitant about it because they don't think that it's going to be financially backed.
Yeah.
We only pick the A-rated. Same thing with all the other carriers. We're never going to put a client with coverage that's not actually dependable, right?
Awesome.
Now for truly high risk areas like AE, VE is the highest risk. So like very coastal, the majority of the times FEMA is probably going to be the best rate. It's going to be a horrible rate, but it's probably going to be the best rate in that way, simply because they're required by law to give flood insurance.
And does private flood insurance, does that go directly for your house, or does it use it just as a floodplain?
So it's going to be in what way?
So like for insurance, they're going to look at my, like we can say like vehicle insurance. They're looking at my personal, and if I've gotten a wreck, if anything like that. But with flood, do they look at the flood map itself and just kind of group all the homes in that flood? Or
So
do
in that scenario,
house by
your
house?
insurance score really does not have a big effect at all.
Okay,
With any
fair.
other carrier, yes. With any other home, auto, your insurance score, your loss claim history, everything like that is going to make a really large difference. With flood, they're literally looking at the floodplain, and then they're also looking at obviously the losses that have already been reported on that home. If that home is flooded 3 times, you're going to be paying like $15K.
Well, it's always funny, like folks that are moving in from out of town to Houston, and at the closing table, they're always like, oh, what floodplain am I in? Am I in a floodplain? I was like, well, you're moving to Houston, so the answer is just yes. And it's crazy because during Harvey, I had a closing, and I think I've told this story before, but it's a phenomenal story, and I love it, and I'm going to tell it again. I don't care. So there was this couple that they were young. They were moving from New York to Houston, and it was the day before Harvey. and well, maybe 2 days. I think Harvey came in on Friday. This closing was on Wednesday or Thursday, and they're moving to the Heights. And the older couple that was selling them the house kind of said, we can push back closing.
Yeah.
We'll wait until it goes, until the hurricane passes, and then we'll close afterwards. We have flood insurance, we have insurance, and you can't insure a house, if there's even a storm in the Gulf kind of
Right.
thing. And
everything goes on.
yeah, exactly. And these wonderful couple from moving in from New York, and I'm not saying anything bad about New Yorkers. I love you guys. I have a lot of family in New York, but they were
Y'all
kind of
technically gave us this. So.
yeah. Well, Chicago, but they were very oh, we're moving in, and like we even told them we weren't even kind of going to close it because we're just like there's no way they're gonna want to close. And you have to, wait the 30 days to be insured for flood and all that stuff and moving in. They were horrible. We ended up having to call in an escrow officer during the downpouring rain, the start of the Hurricane Harvey, and closing them. They moved in, and they moved into the Heights. And at that time, I was living in the Heights. So after it was done, I kind of wanted to see, let's check this house out. Yeah, let's look at this house. It was completely flooded.
That's so sad.
Completely
That's
flooded.
So sad.
And I knew, I called the folks that I was working with, and I called them and I said, we're gonna get a phone call whenever we open about from these guys asking what do we do? But once you're closed, you're kind of on your own. And we did. We opened up the office, and they had left us I think 12 messages. But I mean, we tried everything, and it was crazy. So if you are moving to Houston and you're watching this, and there's a hurricane coming. Maybe push back closing.
Yes,
until the hurricane
definitely,
happens.
definitely.
But yeah, it was a total loss. It was pretty bad.
That's really tragic.
I kind of
quite
felt
honestly.
bad for them. I mean, they
I would
were
feel horrible.
two of
Yeah.
the worst people I've met in a long time.
Well, that
so I
sucks.
felt bad,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Torn on that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was bad. So flood insurance is, especially in Houston, something you should definitely get.
Right. At least get it quoted out.
Yeah, at least get it quoted out.
And what's really nice, a lot of the private flood carriers in those lower risk zones are going to give really good rates.
Awesome.
They actually, I'm glad you mentioned that 30-day wait, because the private flood carriers normally only have a 10-day wait.
Really?
So,
okay.
I mean, obviously, if we're in peak hurricane season, they're not going to write your business.
Oh, yeah,
but in normal times, they only have a 10-day wait time, very convenient, and they normally have payment plans as well. Because
that's
obviously,
awesome.
if you're in a low risk zone, you cannot escrow that. You cannot.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to pay that yourself. But it's really nice to have that option to do a payment plan if you would like to.
Yeah. I'm glad that the private flood is starting to become sexy kind of thing, because it was nil. It was just FEMA, and the reason why private is more. I'm sorry, I'm stealing your thunder.
No.
But
I agree with him. Yes.
Because FEMA realized that it was kind of a catch-all kind of thing, and it was so cheap. They never raised their prices, and they found out that, hey, we are losing a ton of money on this. So then they kind of jacked up the prices 2 years ago, and yeah, so now private's a lot of times way cheaper.
A lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. And then there's some that are still technically private, but they are still backed by FEMA. So it's like the National Flood Insurance Program.
Okay.
So we have Right Flood. They are technically NFIP, but they still kind of write as a private carrier. So you have a lot of options. So if you're hesitant, if you have questions, there are so many options to explore that aren't scary at all. And once again, it doesn't hurt to just look and see what options you are, so you can make an informed decision.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And to get away from flood and insurance in general, you were born and raised in Houston, correct? What part? Spring?
No, over there. Way over there. Porter.
That's right.
Then
Porter, yeah.
And then over here.
So close to being a good old Splendora folk.
Yes.
You're that close. That close. We won't hold that against you. But you now live in Houston.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. What is, and you're a woman about town. What is your favorite place to go out? So let's start favorite bar and then favorite restaurant.
Oh, okay. That's so hard. Wow.
All right, we'll go.
Okay.
It's Friday.
Okay.
You've had a horrible week.
Okay.
It was a
so,
bad week.
You know, I recently started eating meat again.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. Mastro's has had my heart lately.
Okay.
They are fantastic.
Yeah.
They have this. Well, everything about it is delicious. They have this butter cake.
Really?
So delicious.
Really?
So that's been a go-to.
Okay. Mastro's butter cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously their steaks, anything we
Oh,
get
yeah,
there
their
is
steaks are
delicious.
phenomenal,
But I mean,
yeah.
just to end the evening, to cap it off after you've had some whiskey, had some delicious steak,
Yeah.
you know, butter cake is on
They
point.
have good wine selection too there.
I really haven't gotten into their wine selection.
Fair, just go straight to the whiskey.
I have, yeah.
Fair enough. That's cool. Yeah.
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 Yep.
All right, bar. Favorite bar.
Whew.
You can't say whiskey cake.
No.
All right.
No. No offense.
Fair enough.
Sorry for the face, but no.
Yeah.
See, that's such a hard one. You know, there's just so many cool little hole in the walls. I'm really into Permission right now. I've had such good experiences every single time I go there. The bartenders are it's very small.
Yeah.
Every single time I've gone there, the manager has interacted with me.
Really?
The bartenders are always super like very informed too.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're talking about. Like when I sit down, I'm like, I want to try something new.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's do this. And normally I actually really like it. So I like that experience. I like anywhere I can go and just do whiskey tastings as well. Because it's...
They do whiskey tastings? Awesome.
They do little small pours, the flights, if you will.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any other suggestions on bars?
Oof, okay. Plenty. Trying to think of ones that I really love. I feel like some of the ones I go to are more because that's like where we all congregate and not necessarily where I love. Like I would not ever recommend anyone to go to McIntyre's. It's very overstimulating, way too many people. But I do unfortunately end up there quite often. So, you know,
now you
whatever
sound like
that
my
says
escrow
about
officer.
me.
Yeah. I can't believe you and Ashley haven't ran into each other.
I know. But I mean, she's like a gorgeous tall blonde. There's like a million people that look like her in there, so maybe I did see her.
That's
quite
fair.
frankly.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you like going around that area? Because I mean, that area over by McIntyre's is just blowing up. I mean, there's so many bars. There's so many, not really restaurants, but bars. It's just
find little hole in the wall places.
Yeah, like Hubcap Grill is closing down, which is sad.
I
love that
place.
Okay. But I like that area. I was there maybe a week ago. Did a first time homebuyer seminar, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great place. I even like trying out places that are more of like obviously like Postino's.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily like that exciting. There's plenty of locations everywhere, but you know, it's just such a fun experience to sit there, try stuff with people.
Yeah.
In that scenario, I do drink wine, so.
That's fair. That's fair. Postino has everything, though. I mean, it's pretty. The food's fantastic. The wines. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but I mean, they have so many good selections. The happy hour there is just insane.
It is.
It's phenomenal.
You can get screwed up on their happy hour.
You can. You can.
It's great.
That's
and really enjoy yourself.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say enjoy yourself. I like that. So, are you reading any books? Do you have any good books to recommendations?
I'm into self-help books.
Okay, let's go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What everyone else's cup of tea is. Okay, so right now I'm reading. This is going to expose way too much about me. I'm reading a book called Codependent No More.
Okay.
It's a really good one.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to go into detail about all the weird intricacies of that one. It's a very good book. I like most of Brene Brown's book. She has like really good material that's very insightful. You know, I've really not picked up any other styles of book, quite honestly. It's mostly, I would call them self-help.
Yeah.
And sometimes biographies, you know, because I really like to see what successful people do and try to do the same thing.
I like that.
I really like podcasts too.
Wheel.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, so podcasts. What are you listening to? What's your favorite podcast?
Ooh, okay. This is all exposing so much about me. Have you heard of the School of Greatness?
No.
Okay. It sounds very cheesy. It's not actually. So what I enjoy about it, it's a different guest every single week. Okay. And the majority of them are authors. You know, some of them are life coaches, that whole gist, right? Yeah. Sometimes he even has like neurologists on there.
Oh, that's cool.
They're basically just breaking down so many different things, whatever their specialty is. I really enjoy when people really explain to me how brains work and bring together the, like, almost what we would call the emotional and the actual scientific.
I like it.
Because things like that have been basically what I have trained myself on, of like how to think, how to, you know, speak so that you think well about yourself, like all the components.
Yeah.
So that's literally what I listen to.
So that's
on the way to work, on the way home from
So
work.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one. So it's a less douchey Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Actually, he's had Joe Rogan on there
That's
before,
fair.
but yes.
That's fair.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what was that called again?
The School of Greatness.
The School of Greatness. Okay. I'm gonna look that up then.
Yep.
I'm gonna look that up. So I'm gonna bring it back to the market.
Okay.
So I know you deal with a lot of, you know, lenders, realtors, and that stuff. What have you been hearing? Have you heard anything? Like, are rates going lower? Is it starting to get busier? Because, you know, the crazy thing is, and I tell everyone, you know, especially with the media, it always says like sky is falling when it comes to the real estate market. And it was slow. It was slow for about a year. And it was tough. And it was nice because, you know, the cream always rises to the top kind of thing. So we've seen a lot of realtors, because I think you and I were talking about this the other week, you know, making our phone calls and then realizing like half of the realtors that we call are not in the business anymore. Same with lenders, same with title companies. I mean, it's happening.
So many people getting laid off actually recently. So,
And you know, I'm seeing it better. I mean, things seem to be.
I agree with that.
Better. And Houston is totally different than any other city.
Well, see,
it feels like, I mean, people are still relocating like crazy. Companies, people, and
and see, that's
it's
why
crazy.
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Like, even if you look at all of the different plans for the port, they're expanding that. Like, we will always have so many things growing in Houston area and surrounding, right, that will bring people that have to move here.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be okay, quite honestly. Obviously, there's going to be the people that are panicking. And this is actually surprising, because normally I'm the worst at pep talks. I'm one of those people that will just like jump in the wallow with you and be like, yeah, that's crappy, that's bad, it sucks. But in this scenario, I really see that the people that are good at their job, that are already established for the right reasons, like they've taken care of their clients, they have integrity, all of those things, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, some of the newer people that maybe haven't put in as much effort, I don't really think that they're going to succeed maybe in a harder market, but you know, I think that definitely the hard work that is put in does pay off, even in this scenario.
God, it was so easy a few years back. It was just, I mean, you didn't have
Everybody
to do any
was
work.
becoming realtors.
Yeah. You didn't have to do any work. It seemed like, but you know, now it's crazy. I was just telling one of my clients, you know, it feels like it's back when I first started, when I was first growing my business. You're having to put that time and effort. And I know, you know, you and I had talked like 2 days ago about how you were just like, I am swamped for the entire month. You have something going every day. But I feel like that's what you have to do right now.
Yeah.
You have to be seen, you have to be visible. And it's crazy because, you know, thank God for social media, because you can literally be like 6 places at once. I've been
interacting with a million people.
Yeah. And, you know, I've been seeing myself more into social media lately, like doing posts and stuff, and I really hope I'm not annoying you guys. But
no, you actually have very good posts.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I checked
that.
out the Instagram.
Yeah,
it's good.
Appreciate that. But you know, it's you're trying to figure out different ways to market. You can't just do social media and that's it. You can't just do face to face. That's it. But you know, you have to do everything.
You definitely do.
And I feel like a lot of folks out there are not. And that can be a whole different conversation. But
and you know, it's part of those things of, I don't personally really like social media.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to market myself, I honestly never posted on social media. You know, it's just not my cup of tea necessarily.
That's fair.
I've always been the type of person that I'm really bad at remembering to take pictures. I'm very in the moment.
That's fair.
You know, I'm never gonna pull out my phone before I enjoy something with somebody or enjoy the food that's right in front of me.
Even that beautiful juicy steak, you can't show your followers what you're
I've gotten
about to
better
eat.
at this now, though. That's the thing. And so I've now realized that, okay, while I don't enjoy that side of social media, at the same time, it really serves a purpose. And so I'm very much okay with using it to serve a purpose, because, you know, there's not really a facade behind it. It's still just me, and that's always been
true.
the downside. I'm like, I don't really care for that. I
Yeah.
don't want to show a picture perfect life that I don't even have. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it very much serves a purpose. People want to see what you're doing.
That's true.
You know? And since we've talked about we're in such an oversaturated market, I
Yeah.
want the people that want to work with me
I like that. Yeah.
to know exactly who I am, and they'll be like, wow, I'm gonna work with Gabriella.
Yeah.
Same thing with you. They're gonna see your post, they're gonna see your personality, and like, I actually really want to work with this guy.
Yeah. I like
So
that.
yeah, now we're social media famous.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. It's funny too. You speak social media and the perfect like life.
Yeah.
Especially COVID. Like that was bad. Like seeing your friends and stuff having this beautiful life, and then you had to realize. One of my buddies had posted. I'm like, this life isn't that good. Like he's a freaking mess. I'm like, but the facade of social media made it seem like
Crazy.
living this best life.
It's so unfair because
Yeah.
you know, if you just look at that, and I think that too many people think that that's so much of reality, and that's
Yeah.
so concerning because that's not what anybody's daily life looks like.
100%.
Like even
Yeah.
like adorable pictures of people's kids and stuff like.
I don't know about
like,
that. My kids, they're adorable no matter what, 24/7. They're perfect and they never cry.
See, that's wonderful.
I've never ever wanted to, just move to Paris by myself and never.
I have.
That's-
I'll be honest, I have. Without a
yeah,
doubt.
I was in
dip
Paris.
anytime
and everything. Yeah, but well, Gabrielle, thank you so much. This was a phenomenal cocktail, better than anything that I've ever made on here. So I'm glad you came because this is, I was doing closing cocktails like weekly for a while,
I
and
love this concept.
it kind of went MIA for a bit, but bringing it back. So technically, you were my first guest. I had Carrie Russell, owner of BRPS, a few weeks ago.
Yes.
But we just drank bourbon and talked about the market.
But he's very he
Yeah.
has a lot of information. That was actually very interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and I like him. He's a good guy. But the actual mixing and making of a cocktail, this was phenomenal. And when I asked you, I was like, "What's your favorite cocktail? What do you want to make?" You were like, "Oh, this
impossible."
New York whiskey sour," and you sent. I was like, "Egg whites. We're gonna do freaking egg whites." So it was awesome. It's a great cocktail. If you have not had a New York whiskey sour, you have to try this. And if you don't want to make it, I'm sure Miss Gabriella will come first look at your insurance
Yes,
and
there we go.
then make you one of these
There we
awesome drinks.
Yes, I'll make this for you if I quote you. Don't
Well, I
worry.
like that. That's a hell of a sales pitch.
Yeah, I'll do it.
But we do have a few events that her and I are doing in the next few weeks. So we'd love to see you. Right now we're filming this on February 3rd. So get a hold of us, please. If you're looking at this, you already know how to get a hold of me. Gabriella, how can I get a hold of you?
So you can email me or call me. So the best phone number, well, are we going to add that into the
100%.
information? We're going to add it to the information, but you can email me, text me, call me. I'm pretty much available on any social media platform as well. So.
What's your Instagram handle?
Ooh, G Cockburn.
Okay.
So.
Cockburn.
Yes, there we go.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Here's to a hell of a 2023.
Yes, it's gonna be a good
crush.
one.
It is. And guys, like I always say, thank you for watching, and hope to see you at the closing table. Cheers.
Thank y'all so much.